What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a deck profile for Great Natures in premium format. Yes, I know. When was the last time we did a deck profile for any clan in premium format? But this clan is my favorite clan. It's Great Natures. Of course, we just received Bigbelly, and if you guys don't know, I love Bigbelly. Now, unfortunately, I do apologize in advance. My deck isn't fully SP'd out. Give me some time. I'm missing like 3 more cards. That's it. But so far at the moment, I've been playtesting this build and it's working out pretty good. It does have its bad matchups, but at the moment, it's actually pretty consistent unless you draw a really bad hand. But I'm going to break down my build for you guys to show you what exactly am I playing, how to play it, and to see if you guys want to test it out or not. Again, guys, this deck is very fun, very easy to play. It's not that hard, but of course I'm going to break down the build for you guys. So we'll start off with starters. Of course, we'll start off with grade zeros. The starter, no brainer, on ride, draw a card. If you're going second, draw a card and you get a quick shield. We're playing 2 counter charge and soul charge and heal triggers, pretty standard, and then 2 standard format heal triggers. Again, pretty standard, not too much of a big deal right there. Next, we're playing 4 critical Sentinels. Of course, a lot of you guys are probably going to disagree with me here. In my opinion, I don't think this build needs draw triggers. Maybe you can possibly put in the grade 1 Sentinels, but to be honest, the best grade 1 Sentinel, it requires a Soul Blast, which in this build, unfortunately, Soul Blasting is kind of too big of a cost, in my opinion. Overall, guys, I definitely do want to go as aggressive as possible, so I figured let's play 4 critical triggers. And so far at the moment, they're actually working pretty well, especially when my opponent banks on me not hitting a critical trigger, and sometimes I do. Either way, guys, it's a 30k shield. It's not a complete no guard, but then again, guys, in premium format, let's be honest, a lot of games don't really go past 5 turns. Next, we're playing 8 front triggers. Front triggers mainly for the fact that, of course, we're playing Bigbelly. Bigbelly is going to rush the board. Bigbelly is going to restand the board, and all the units are going to attack again. So, God forbid if my opponent does hit a damage trigger, some of my units may not be able to hit. So, of course, if I hit a front trigger, it just increases the chances of all my rear guards actually hitting my opponent's Vanguard. Next, to grade 1s, we're playing 4 mini bellies. Of course, this card is a standard card in every Great Nature build. Of course, on place, top 5 cards, grade 3, add it to hand, discard a card. And his effect to get the +5 is actually not that hard. All you need is an additional rear guard and he gets +5, so it's pretty easy. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Expert Grader Nitsuboi. This card, what it does is basically on Vanguard, if it hits your, I'm pretty sure it has to hit Vanguard. No, it can hit anything. It can even hit rear guard. If it hits, you draw a card. That's it. It's a +1 if it's on Vanguard. His second ability is actually pretty good. When this unit is retired by a card ability, if you have a Vanguard with Bigbelly in its card name, you can counter charge 1. This is actually really good. It's amazing second turn, especially if you're striding into Bularo. But overall, guys, this grade 1, in my opinion, is the best on-ride grade 1 in the whole build. A lot of you guys are going to disagree. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are going to say, why aren't you playing the other grade 1 where you draw a card and then ditch a card? In my opinion, it's okay, but honestly, I prefer the on-ride, discard a card and draw a card. It's in my opinion, a gamble. Because God forbid you discard a card. God forbid you discard a card to just draw into a trigger, which is going to be terrible. But if this card hits, it's a +1, and if it is retired by a card effect, and if I have Bigbelly as my Vanguard, I get to counter charge 1, which is a huge deal because in this build we do counter blast a lot. And for my last grade 1s, we're playing the infamous 4 copies of Honorary Assistant Mega Saburo. If you guys don't know, this card is from premium format. What this card does is on place during your main phase only. You can give a rear guard this ability. When this rear guard is retired at the end of the turn, you may search out your deck for grade 3, and this does stack. So of course, if you play 2 copies, you target the same unit, you get to search out twice. If you play 3 copies, target the same unit, you get to search out 3 times. And God forbid if you draw all 4 of them, target the same unit, you get to search out 4 grade 3s for free, which is actually pretty broken. Overall, guys, this grade 1 is amazing with a certain grade 2, which I'm about to show you. We're playing 4 copies of Spool Mary. What this card does is basically on ride, you get to call this card to the Rigard circle. So no matter what, this is the best on ride grade 2 that you want to have. Her other ability is whenever it attacks, I believe. Yeah, when it attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Bigbelly in its card name, you may have this unit and one of your Vanguards get plus 10k until the end of the turn. At the end of that turn, retire this unit. So basically, it's a 19k whenever it attacks. It's a +1 card if you ride on top of it. So in my opinion, there's no reason why not to play, because again, it's a 19k by itself. It's amazing with Bigbelly, and it does make numbers. Next, we're playing Blusher Parakeet. This grade 2 is amazing in premium format. Not that much in standard format, but in premium format, this card is insane. Basically, on place, either Vanguard or Rigard circle, counter +1, look at the top 7 cards for a grade 3 added to your hand, and it gets +3k. At the end of the turn, you have to retire the unit. So if you place on Vanguard, you're not gonna retire it. No matter what, it's a +1 if you get the grade 3. If you play on Rigard circle, it's a 1-for-1. Of course, you know, there are many chances of you not getting that grade 3, but in this build, we're actually playing 9 grade 3s, and this grade 2 works out perfectly well with Mega Subaru. If you guys don't know, back then for Great Natures, we had to struggle so hard to retire a Rigard to combo out with this card. But nowadays, we just play this card because this card retires itself. We don't have to attack an opponent, give +4 to the Rigard, end phase, retire it. We can just on place, counter blast, activate the ability. It's a +1 if it does hit, and if this goes off, it's a 1-for-1. God forbid if you play 2 Mega Subarus targeting the same Parakeet, it's a +2. So just think about it. This grade 2 is amazing in premium format. I don't care what anyone says. This grade 2 is just amazing. Potentially, it's the second best on ride grade 2 that you want to have. Overall, guys, by turn 2, you definitely want to play at least 1 copy of this to stretch out for your grade 3s. Then we're playing 3 copies of Measured Fossa. This card is definitely a +1 if it goes off. Counter +1 on place. Look at the top 2 cards. You may call one of them to Rigard circle, and then the other card goes into the grave. And then his other ability, I believe, is once per turn. Yeah, once per turn. When it attacks, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your Rigards, it gets +10k until the end of that turn. At the end of the turn, retire that unit. So overall, this card is actually a really good card. It's a 19k it could be a 19k by itself, or give +10 to another Rigard, but it's also a +1. The only issue that I have with it is that it's a counter +1. It's a pretty, like I said, guys, in this build, we do counter blast a lot and we do soul blast a lot. So overall, I'm playing 3 copies of it. You could play 4 if you want to, because my last card is a kind of attack card. I'm playing 1 copy of Problem Child Bigbelly. What this card does is, on attack, I may Soul Blast 1, give 2 units +4k, and it gives it an effect. At the end of the turn, draw a card, and then retire this unit. I'm pretty sure I said the wrong way. Nope. Yeah, at the end of the turn, draw a card and retire this unit. So overall, guys, I mean, of course, you need to have a Bigbelly as a Vanguard. It's not that big of a deal. Only issue is that it's a Soul Blast 1, and his ability does miss timing with certain cards. Thank God we don't play any of those cards. Overall, guys, this grade 2 puts in a lot of work. It's a +2 if it does go off, especially if you're going second. Overall, guys, like I said, it's a tech card. If you don't want to play this card, you can just play 4 copies of Fossa instead. But so far, I've been playtesting this card, and whenever I draw into this card, and if it does go off, it's just a +2. It's just such a good card. I wouldn't play more than 1 copy of it, to be honest. Now for grade 3s, of course, we're playing 4 of the infamous, famous Professor Bigbelly. I love this card so much. Of course, you know, I wish his effect was free, but you know, things happen. So his ability is when your Rigard is retired by a card effect during each battle phase or each end phase, you may draw a card. So whenever a card is retired during my end phase, or retired retired in any battle phase, I may draw a card by an ability. His other effect is, when this unit attacks, counter +1, choose one of your 20k or greater Rigards and stand it. If you have a grade 3 in the soul, stand all your Rigards with 20k or higher. So basically this card, you definitely want this card as your main Vanguard. It's amazing by turn 3 if you're going first, and it's definitely amazing by turn 5 if you're going second. Either way guys, this grade 3 is just such a good card. It puts in so much work. Now for my other grade 3s, we're playing 3 copies of Hamskade's rival Rocket Pencil Hamden. I know I butchered his name, but oh well. This card, in my opinion, is such a good card in standard format and premium format. It just puts in so much work. So if you're going first, of course you want to get this grade 3 in your hand. You want to combo this card out with Bigbelly and of course another grade 3 in your hand. Overall guys, his effect is actually pretty good. So his effect is Vanguard or Rigard. When another unit is placed on an additional Rigard circle, counter +1, put a card from your hand into the soul, which of course you want that to be a grade 3. And that unit and this unit gets plus 10k until the end of the turn. And if you have 2 additional Rigard circles, you may draw a card. Now, of course, the main reason why we're playing this card is just to put a grade 3 into the soul and to give itself plus 10k and another Rigard plus 10k. I can honestly care less about drawing a card because by that turn I should win. But this card puts in so much work. Again, it's a counter +1, so again this deck does counter loss a lot. So we need to counter charge as much as possible. And the last grade 3s, it's a kind of attack card. We're playing 2 copies of the amazing Bigbelly, just for the fact that, God forbid, if I have to write another grade 3 that's not the famous Bigbelly, I can just write this card. And it's actually not a bad grade 3 on ride because on place, Vanguard Circle, I can call a Rigard from my hand to the field, give plus 4k, end of the turn, draw a card, and then retire it. But his second ability is the most important one. His second ability is Vanguard and Rigard. Generation Pick 1. If this unit is successful at 20k, when it attacks, I can counter +1, restand one of my other Rigards, which is actually pretty good in my opinion. If you guys noticed, I'm not playing Cran Tiger. Yeah, I know. It's actually really crazy that I'm not playing Cran Tiger. To be honest, the whole time I was just arguing with myself. I'm like, I want to play 4 Cran Tigers. But at this point, there's no reason why. Because I don't have the space for Cran Tigers. I'd rather have 9 grade 3s than have more grade 2s because of course this deck does rely on getting grade 3s because you want to get his effect off every single time. So playing 2 amazing Bigbellies is actually pretty decent, especially by turn 4 if you're going second. Now for strides, it's pretty simple to be honest. I mean, nowadays, every game that I play, I rarely stride. I only stride once, and I definitely do G-Guard a lot. We're playing 1 copy of Omnis Dragon Almarai. What this card does is, on play Soul Blast 1, I can call cards from my hand to the Rigard circle, and until the end of the turn, they cannot be retired or they cannot be retired by attacks or by card effects. We're playing 1 copy of the Immortality Professor Kondani. What this card does is basically I can retire a Rigard and then counter charge 1. Honestly, we barely activate that ability, but if we do activate that ability, he does get plus 5. We're playing 2 copies of Head of Bastion Ardillo. What this card does is basically if I have 3 open Rigard circles, it gets plus 10k. But I can also choose to retire any of my Rigards before the plus 10k procs. So let's say I have 4 Rigards. I call this to Guardian Circle, activate his ability. I'm going to retire, let's say 3 units. So then it gets plus 10k. Keep in mind guys, if I do have Bigbelly as my Vanguard, and if I do activate this ability, I will draw for each card that retires. So this card works out amazing with Bigbelly. So that's why I play 2 copies of it. Last G-Guard, of course, we're playing Sheltered Harness Spangled. This card is just way too good of a card. Basically, on place, counter +1. You have to call this card last. Counter +1. Each card in your Guardian Circle, when it's retired, you draw for it. So basically, let's say if you call, let's say you call 4 cards right here in Guardian Circle. Then of course you call G-Guard, counter +1, and then at the end of the battle, all these are going to retire, and then you draw a card for each for each other card in the Guardian Circle. So you're going to draw 4 cards, which is actually pretty good. So this card definitely refreshes your hand, especially again, like I said, if you're going second, definitely refreshes your hand to go off next turn. Now for the 1-ofs, we're playing 1 copy of Apex Science Dragon Magnagarm Arnhem. Honestly, guys, this card rarely goes off, but it does go off if it's face up in the G zone. We're playing Sea Breeze, God forbid if my opponent's playing the chicken game. We're playing 1 copy of Omnis Dragon Alak. This card is basically, if I play against Narakames or Kagros, it protects my units from being retired. This card is an MVP card, but be extremely careful when playing it. This card basically does is when at the end of the battle, +1, retire all your rear guards, you soul charge and then draw for each card. And then you counter charge for each card that you retired. This card does it does mill your deck out. This card is amazing with Bigbelly. For example, like I said, if you have this as your Vanguard, D-Stride, his ability procs, retire the whole board, counter charge, draw a card, and then soul charge, draw a card, and then counter charge. And then you're also going to draw even more for each rear retired, because this card is face up on the Vanguard circle once again. So this card is amazing with Bigbelly, but be extremely careful, you will deck out. And of course, we'll play 1 copy of Zoa. If I have the opportunity to actually go off, I'll play Zoa. We're playing 2 copies of Omnis Dragon Kimuta. Again, I'm bad with names. We basically play this card is, the reason why I play this card is, God forbid if we're actually doing the long game. I mean, usually our games doesn't go past 6 turns. But if it does, there's multiple chances of you actually decking out, and you want to stride into this card to actually put cards back into your deck. And of course, we're playing 5 copies of the MVP Stride Omnis Dragon Fulero. Of course, this is always going to be your first stride no matter what. There's no other stride to go into besides this card. This card puts in so much work, especially if you're going second, especially if you do have Bigbelly as your Vanguard. Again, all these strides work out so well with Bigbelly. So what this card does is basically, once per turn, Soul Blast a card, choose a face down card from your G zone, turning face up. Choose all of your units in the front row until the end of the turn. They get auto Vanguard and Rearguard once per turn. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may draw a card, and they get plus 4k for each face-up card in the G zone. Now, this card, like I said, you can draw, let's say, 3 cards off his effect, but of course, at the end of the turn, he has to retire those Rearguards, and once he retires them, you get to draw more just for having Bigbelly as your Vanguard. So this card works out perfectly well. It's amazing. Usually, I would only stride into 1. All you need is to stride into once, and then next turn you're gonna go all out with Bigbelly. So with this build, it depends if you're going first or second. If you're going first, most likely you're gonna go into Excel 2. But if you're going second, depending if your hand is bad or not, highly recommend to go Excel 1. This deck, you draw into so many cards if you're going second. Like I said, if you're going second with amazing Bigbelly and Balaram, most likely you're gonna draw at least 8 cards that turn, maybe even more, depending on how good your hand is. And then the next turn, of course, you're gonna have the perfect setup with the best rearguards to make the best column numbers, and then go off with Bigbelly. Of course, like I said, guys, this deck does counter blast a lot, so you need to be extremely careful when you're doing your plays. That's why, again, I'm playing the counter charge heal triggers. Again, you don't have to play the 4 critical trigger Sentinels. You could play the grade 1s. I wouldn't recommend to play the good one where it's Soul Blast, counter charge, and draw a card if you have a Bigbelly Vanguard, because again, it does Soul Blast, and in this build, we already Soul Blast enough. We Soul Blast with Fulero, we Soul Blast with Faucet Measure. Yes, I know I could play that grade 1 that does Soul Charge and Counter Charge, but to be honest, guys, I don't want to play more grade 1s in this build. It's perfectly fine the way it is. I don't want to bring down my grade 2 count. I don't want to increase my grade 1 count. To be honest, guys, for grade 1s, there's not too many grade 1s that I want to play. So that's why I'm only playing 4 Mikasaburu, 4 of the grader, and playing 4 of mini bellies. So again, guys, we're playing 4 crit, 4 heal, eight front triggers. We're playing 12 draws. I'm sorry, we're playing 12 grade 1s. We're playing 4, 8, 11, 12 grade 2s. And we're playing 4, 3, 2. We're playing 9 grade 3s. Again, guys, this deck has been working out perfectly well for me because, again, this deck combos out so much. It's insane. Like I said, the Parrot, Mika Sabrews, they put in so much work. And this grade 3 puts in even more work setting up your big belly for the first. Sorry, setting up your big belly if you're going first and if you're going second. Either way, guys, like I said, this deck is just extremely fun. Will I keep playing it later on? Highly doubt it because I have a very strong feeling with the next set, BT12. Premium is going to be a little bit frustrating in my opinion, but again, I could be wrong. But like I said, guys, it's a fun build. I love playing this deck, and I'm probably gonna keep playing it. So if you guys enjoyed the video, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel for more videos. Every Thursday we have a standard market watch, and every Wednesday we have a premium market watch. And if you guys have any comments about my build, please leave a comment down below. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are going to disagree with me, which is fine. You know, not everyone can have the same opinions. Not everyone can have the same thought process. Because if that was to happen, life would be so boring. So if you guys have any comments or any tweaks, any cards that you recommend for me to play, please comment down below and we'll talk about it. And yeah, all right, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are being safe, and I hope to see you guys always next time. Deuces.